Northwest Finance MEC Kenetswe Mosenogi has tabled a 55 billion rand budget for the 2025-26 financial year. It is going to be geared towards addressing the priorities of government. The opposition parties are now reacting to that budget, and let's take you live therefore. That reacts with Refiloe Seboko. Refiloe, good morning. What are they saying?
Good morning, Iman, together with our viewers. Well, the argument is that these budget allocations, they never really get to the ground in addressing the service delivery challenges that the province is encountering. We are seeing education and health also getting the biggest chunk of the budget from that speech that happened earlier on today by MEC Kenetswe Mosenogi. But like you're saying, we're getting the reaction from opposition parties. I'm joined by Mr. Walhorn. Thank you so much and welcome to Newzroom Afrika from the DA in the Northwest Province. Your reaction to that budget speech?
I can be very honest to say that in terms of the DA's feeling about the budget, it's very underwhelming and underperforming. In terms of situations like housing, the department itself has said that they are able to build 20,000 houses a year, yet we see a budget that only allows 3,000 houses. If we look at infrastructure like the roads, we've got heavy industry, we've got agriculture that make use of the roads to basically export their products to wherever they need to go. Yet, given the weather that we've been having, the road infrastructure has been crumbling at a far greater rate than we were anticipating, which now leads us to say that the budget is totally inadequate for what needs to be done to keep this the Premier's promise on the infrastructure development alive. In terms of the SOPA, the reality is that the provincial budget did not address the priorities that were found in the SOPA. If we can also look at the health and social development, there was no mention of PEPFAR. So the big question is, where are we going to find the financing to actually take up the space that has been left by the funding that is now missing? In terms of looking at the year ahead, we've only got just over 4 years left. We cannot waste another year on an underperforming budget. Urgent intervention needs to be done.
Thank you so much, but I also just want to move on to some of my guests with regards to their reaction. And I'm going to speak to now the MK in the Northwest Province, Lerato Solo. Thank you so much and welcome to Newzroom Afrika. Talk to us about your reaction to that budget.
Thank you very much. What I can say with regard to the budget that was pronounced by the Honorable MEC today is that, to be honest, is glaringly overwhelming. There is a big or a great disjuncture from what the Premier pronounced during his State of the Provincial Address as to what it was said in today's budget. You look at most of the departmental budget cuts, and the most key and critical core departments that are meant to provide service delivery on the ground, they realized these particular budget cuts. Check the Department of Public Works and Roads, where we are expecting that this particular province is predominantly rural. Roads are extremely bad. Not only rural, in townships there are a lot of potholes, and they have been given just a chunk for them to do infrastructural development. And we can't talk about investors to come to this particular province in the state of the road that we are talking about. We talk about commercial farmers, whom some of them, they are exporting their products. Roads are not drivable at all, and we are expecting miracles to this particular effect.
Thank you so much for your time and thank you for your patience. Let me move to the EFF, Justice Dabambe. Your reaction?
No, thank you very much. Well, as the EFF, we think that this budget vote, it does not speak to the issues on the ground. It does not address issues which the masses of our people experiences. You'd realize that the budget does not speak about sustainable jobs. It speaks about temporary jobs, which we know is just 3 months to 6 months jobs. It does not speak to say what is that as government we are going to do to ensure that we grow the economy. And as the EFF, that's why we're saying this budget does not address the issues on the ground. And it is just a repetition of what has been there already. You'd know that the learners of Tapama in Taung, in Leselong, in Tamasikwa, still today they struggle with scholar transport, despite commitments being made over years that there will be scholar transport that is being provided. Schools infrastructure has collapsed in almost all the schools in the province. In terms of the arts and culture, sports arts and culture, the department spends 41% of its money on salaries. That shows that the government is not serious. They would rather spend more money paying their own people instead of channeling that money to the people, to our people on the ground. If you check to the housing department, it's just a mess. There are many backlogs, and even the houses that they've built are of no quality. So that is why, as the EFF, we are saying that this budget does not address the concerns on the ground, but it's just a repetition of what has been there. And we don't think that there'll be anything tangible that comes out immediately after departments table their budget votes, which I think it will be in 2 weeks' time. So as the EFF, we believe that perhaps if the MEC had spoke of beneficiation, because you can't be speaking of consuming and you're not speaking of producing. We have mines here. Why are you not coming up with a budget to say we are going to build factories, we are going to revive factories which were there in Breads, in Vryburg, but they are not doing that. They are only focused on siphoning money to their friends and families. The Department of Roads, it's a mess. If you go to Pitsidi Sulejang, children every day, especially when it rains, are unable to go to school. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time. Unfortunately, I have to leave it there. Reaction from opposition parties in the Northwest Province. There continues to be the reaction to the budget speech that was tabled by MEC Kenetswe Mosenogi. We understand that just outside legislature, workers in the Northwest Province affiliated to COSATU are rejecting the budget cuts, and therefore they are, calling on the government to fund infrastructure development to improve roads that have been destroyed by the recent floods. And we also get their reaction, Iman, as soon as we are able to get out of the legislature to this budget, that speech that was tabled today by MEC Kenetswe Mosenogi.
Refiloe Seboko, thank you very much for that.